Here's what to know before seeing Backrooms. The Backrooms started as a creepypasta, which is a piece of short narrative fiction created by internet users that's typically in the horror genre. So basically, creepypastas are this generation's versions of legends and folklore. Some of the most popular ones that you might recognize are Slenderman or the SCP Foundation. The idea of the Backrooms started in 2019 when a user on 4chan posted a thread for disquieting images that just feel off. And they started it with this picture. In response to the photo, an anonymous user posted this paragraph. If you're not careful and you exit out of reality in the wrong area, you'll end up in the Backrooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights.
What is this?
And approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in.
Can anybody hear me?
God save you if you hear something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has heard you.
Hello?
And just like that, a new creepypasta had been created. Within days, people started posting more stories on Reddit that branched out from that original post. Over the next several years, the Backrooms subreddit would gain over 150,000 members, but it didn't stop there. People posted on wiki sites and in Discord communities, on YouTube and Twitter. Pretty much any internet platform you can think of had fans spreading this lore. And because there was no ownership of it, the Backrooms was basically a huge piece of collaborative writing by mostly anonymous internet users. And soon, the Backrooms lore included additional floors referred to as levels, like an empty parking garage or endless maintenance tunnels. Believe it or not, this resulted in a split in the Backrooms fandom because purists believed this original style should be the only version of the Backrooms. Either way, the defining point about any of the Backrooms settings is that they are unsettling. Something about them doesn't feel safe or natural. When we see something that looks like a human but we can tell is fake, we say it's the uncanny valley. The Backrooms are essentially the same thing but for places. So the Backrooms is responsible for popularizing the aesthetic we now call liminal spaces. Liminal means a position that's on a boundary or threshold, and in the case of the Backrooms, the liminal spaces are on the boundaries of reality. They're familiar, but they feel surreal. They're right on the edge between the real world and a dreamlike dimension. Dan Erickson, the creator of Severance, even said that the Backrooms was a big influence for the series, and it's easy to see why. Now, another element about the Backrooms is that in most versions there's some hint of an unknown threat. In the original post, it was that final line about something wandering nearby. Some of the Backrooms fandom rejected this element, believing the space itself was the point, but other parts of the fandom embraced this idea. And many Backrooms stories include what the community calls entities. The Backrooms wiki was the first source to include specific entities such as the Hounds or Smilers. As the Backrooms lore continued expanding, one of the most popular formats for adaptation were video games. Within months of the original creepypasta being posted, indie game developers made it so that players could actually enter and wander through the Backrooms to experience it for themselves. And the games often included their own versions of entities as the primary threat players would have to deal with. But one of the most popular Backrooms adaptations was a series of short films made by a 16-year-old YouTuber. In 2022, Kane Parsons used Blender and After Effects to bring the Backrooms to life in the style of a found-footage horror movie. Most of his series is set in the 90s, which allowed him to use this low-res digital video aesthetic. His first video, The Backrooms Found Footage, told a contained story where a kid is making a movie with his friends.
Okay.
Yeah. And suddenly falls, or no clips, out of reality and into the Backrooms. As he wanders this creepy, endless landscape, he finds out he's being stalked. This creature would later become known as the Life Form. Over the next year, Parsons would go on to make 21 episodes and a few more in late 2024 and early 2025. Over the course of those episodes, the story and lore expanded. The episodes became a kind of anthology centering around the Async Research Institute, an organization that is attempting to explore and study the Backrooms, or as they call it, the complex. The original 9-minute short film has gained 79 million views since it was posted, so it didn't take long for Hollywood to approach Parsons about doing an adaptation. By February 2023, it was announced that Parsons had been hired by A24 to direct the movie.
I found a place.
James Wan, Sean Levy, and Osgood Perkins were brought on as producers whose past projects include The Conjuring, Stranger Things, and Long Legs. And while I'm sure there will be some CGI in the movie, the production built over 30,000 square feet of an actual Backroom set.
Look, I know how this sounds, but you gotta understand, it's massive.
The reported budget for Backrooms is about $10 million. That's on the low end even for a horror movie, and with the built-in online fandom, this movie will likely be very profitable. Kane Parsons even recently said that he expects the story will get some kind of sequel, and it hasn't even been released yet. And this is part of a bigger trend where we're seeing Hollywood turn to creatives who have already built audiences via online platforms. Obsession, Talk to Me, and Shelby Oaks were all made by people who got their start on YouTube and other platforms. Iron Lung by Mark Fishbach was self-funded but was very profitable, so I wouldn't be too surprised if he is soon hired by a Hollywood studio. And frankly, I think this will only continue to happen. As studios have grown more and more risk-averse, I think they're also becoming much more willing to hire a promising young creative who's already proven that they can draw in an audience with their storytelling. And it's wild to think that Kane Parsons, who is now 20 years old, has launched a film career all thanks to someone posting this image on a 4chan thread. And even though it had been floating around the internet as early as 2011, we only found out where it originated in 2024. A Discord community was able to discover that it was actually just a picture of a furniture store that was being renovated into a hobby town back in 2003 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Turns out it wasn't anything special, and yet it became a cultural symbol for a new visual aesthetic and a genre of horror. One that gets under our skin through the use of the surreal and the uncanny. And it has gone on to create an entire dense story that spanned short written narratives, video games, short films, and now Hollywood films. So I'd love to hear what you think about Backrooms. Are you excited for the movie? Do you hope to see Hollywood giving more opportunities to internet creators? Like me? Should they hire me as a screenwriter? I would like that.